Dr. Benjamin Allen interview, take 1.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Dr. Allen. I work for the ADPA.
The hardest part of this past year has been getting people to believe that it's actually real. And I get it. I get how outlandish it sounds, but this all really happened.
These kind of underground entities are absolutely real. I mean, most people just don't believe, or maybe they don't want to believe that they exist, but that's exactly what these groups want.
It's totally in the realm of possibility that there could be some sub-governmental organization rewriting the narrative.
What made you agree to this interview?
Well, you folks seem to be spreading a lot of confusion around, so I thought it would be helpful for someone to come in and provide some much-needed clarity.
What is the ADPA?
ADPA stands for Active Defense Patrolling Agency. We're essentially a high-level security business, but we go a step further than typical security. We're able to provide security against a variety of threats. Physical invasions, cyber stalking, as well as some security in the air and naval space as well.
What do the words Anomaly Defense and Protection Agency mean to you?
Could you repeat the words?
Anomaly Defense and Protection Agency.
Anomaly Defense.
Protection Agency.
I'm not familiar.
The Active Defense Patrolling Agency is a verified S-Corp in the state of Wisconsin. All we have to go off of is public records, which doesn't provide any insight into what they do. However, the registered agent for the business is none other than Benjamin Allen.
We unfortunately experienced a security breach in the late summer of 2024, which resulted in the release of several recordings linked to private, client-owned security devices that we had sold. These ended up in the hands of Elliott Brotherhood of Secret Handshake Productions, which unfortunately could not have been a worse outcome given the nature of their work. We sent Elliott a rejection notice and issued an apology directly to each client impacted. It came to our attention that Secret Handshake had used our clients' recordings as inspiration for short audio dramas, which were set to be published last October. We, of course, respectfully asked that they cease this activity and cancel the series. They did not. Instead, they deliberately went against our request.
Why were these client-owned audio files stored on cassette tapes?
Not everything is a conspiracy like you seem to think. Forest is not a conspiracy of trees, after all.
He said it was what?
Active Defense Patrolling Agency.
That's literally not true. In the original tape, he literally said, "My name is Dr. Allen. I work for the Anomaly Defense and Protection Agency."
Are you sure you're remembering correctly?
Yes, it's one of the audio bites I had digitized.
The Anomaly Defense and Protection Agency.
My doctorate is in computer science, as I've developed several softwares to provide a variety of security needs. The world is a dangerous place, with all kinds of predators. Anything I can do to make it a little bit safer is all I'm after.
Are you related to Joe Boersma?
Who?
Joe Boersma,
Who is that?
an actor who was involved in Secret Handshake's recreation. He played you.
Not to my knowledge.
Can you explain the similarity in appearance?
I see what you mean.
Can you explain that at all?
Must be a coincidence. Some people just look alike. That's all there is to say.
Where are you from?
What can you tell us about the man in this video? Dr. Allen?
I've never seen him before in my life.
How about the child, subject 157?
Attention here.
I no longer wish to be interviewed.
With just a few more questions for you, if you could please sit down.
This interview is done!
Our interview with Dr. Allen was cut short here. As you can imagine, this brief interview led to more questions than answers. Why did Dr. Allen become emotional at this archival footage? An old man and a little girl. What does he know about the origins of this footage seemingly from before he was born?
Most of the time, underground organizations, they carry on by way of internal succession. You know, they're family affairs, as it were. I mean, children are literally born into this. You can't even call it indoctrination because it's all they know. It is literally generational. The kids, they'll often be raised with a story other than the real ones, just in case anybody asks, you know, they won't give anything away. And even aside from the children, these groups, they often take on fronts to make themselves look like an ordinary business, but I mean, just scratch a little bit further and it's dark.
Do we take Dr. Allen at his word that the ADPA really is simply a security company? Or could it be that this alternative story of the Active Defense Patrolling Agency is in itself the ADPA at work, protecting us from what we shouldn't see? I record this as we near the end of production for our documentary. I've received a message that I believe bears a significant impact in the course of our documentation. Last evening, I received an email from an unrecognized email address. The email address is simply a series of numbers: 92874345@gmail.com. The email has no subject and no contents to the message. There was, however, a zip file titled Image 493 Not for Release. My initial thought was that it must be a scam, which is, of course, not uncommon. However, given the limited information we have in our efforts to uncover the ADPA, I was willing to risk a compromised email account in case it were to lead to further evidence. I opened the zip file. Contained within was a single image file and nothing else. I opened the image. This is what I saw. Due to the graphic nature of the image, we have blurred out the majority so as to respect some of our more sensitive viewers. As you can see, the image file appears to be taken on an old camera and shows a desktop computer screen with an image file open. The image file on the screen depicts 9 mangled human bodies. The sky above them has a purple tint to it. This may sound familiar to some of you who have listened to Secret Handshake's recreations.
God was purple. It was purple. We're dying. Oh, it was so awful. They didn't just drop dead. Their bodies were ripped apart.
The image I received appears to capture the events described in Episode 4 of Tales of Dread and Darkness. allegedly based on the tape from the ADPA. We will do our best to reveal a portion of the image without displaying anything too graphic. At the bottom of the image is faint text which reads, ADPA Doveland, not for release. Could this be a hoax? It certainly seems possible. The low image resolution and the chaotic scene make it difficult to distinguish details. An individual with simple Photoshop skills could easily doctor an image to appear unsettling and shift the color settings to make the sky appear purple. And anyone with basic technology skills knows that adding text over an image is not difficult. However, there is one aspect of this image that catches our attention more than anything else. Doveland. This may sound familiar to those of you with an interest in anomalous events. If you Google search Doveland, you'll find extensive results from internet conspiracy enthusiasts referring to a town in Wisconsin that never existed. It began with a post on then-popular social media site Tumblr, a post by a since-deleted account by the name of Pennsylvanian Patriot, simply asking,
"Anyone here ever heard about Doveland, Wisconsin?"
After being prompted by other users to provide detail, Pennsylvanian Patriot went on to say,
"Supposedly there was a small town in Wisconsin called Doveland that just up and disappeared sometime in the late 1980s, early 1990s. One day the town was there, the next, it wasn't. Every man, woman, and child vanished into thin air."
This post caused conspiracy enthusiasts everywhere to engage and dig up everything they could on this alleged town that was erased from history. Admittedly, this was my first time hearing of Doveland. Upon learning of the internet hype surrounding Doveland, I was at first inclined to believe that the image I received was a hoax from an internet troll who had learned of our documentary and wanted to pull a prank on us. However, I came across a Reddit post that completely altered my perspective. Jamie Ivanov writes on Reddit,
"I just learned of all the noise surrounding Doveland, and I think I can add some insight. Doveland was a small town in Wisconsin that housed a lot of military families. My father lived there for a year or two and spoke of it occasionally. The main thing I remember is that it had to do with Project Sanguine in the early 60s. I don't think it was X-Files type stuff, but the town was destroyed after an incident. I thought they were digging up a ton of land for something and they flooded the town or something, but this is a rehashed second-hand memory from years ago."
Project Sanguine.
Project Sanguine has caused a slight slip, the knowledge of which I believe would be dangerous to the populace.
One of the more mysterious aspects of Project Sanguine is how quickly it completely stopped. Once they realized what they were attempting was totally unfeasible, they had to call it quits. But there was no notice of cessation at all.
Project Sanguine is said to have been a government project pertaining to the development of submarine communication systems using ELF waves. We now call into question whether Project Sanguine had to do with a submarine communication system at all, or whether it was something much more sinister. Google Maps, of course, does not bear any results for Doveland, Wisconsin. Even examining historical maps of the state, no town by the name of Doveland exists anywhere. There are no census records, no record of businesses incorporated in Doveland, no mail addressed to or from Doveland. There is one, and only one, photograph that was allegedly taken in Doveland. The photo depicts 3 people sitting in a restaurant with red walls. There's no proof that this photograph was actually captured in the allegedly vanished town of Doveland. There are, however, several people who insist that Doveland was a real town, reporting parents or family members who lived there.
The freaky bit is how many people in my family, from Wisconsin say they remember Doveland. Doveland was very real. My father used to mention it occasionally before he passed. If I remember correctly, the town was built as part of Project Sanguine in the mid to late 60s. Maybe everyone left when the project was cancelled, but I thought something went very wrong. You can only dig up that much turf for so long before you're bound to have problems.
The common thread is that everybody seems to remember something going horribly wrong with Project Sanguine, a claim that seems to be backed up even by the mysterious Ernest himself, as he refers to the results of Project Sanguine being knowledge, which is
dangerous to the populace.
There are 4 predominant theories as to the Doveland, Wisconsin case. The first is that it's simply a hoax invented by internet miners who partake in ARGs, or alternate reality games. This certainly cannot be written off, as it is typically the case when it comes to urban legends discussed in online forums. However, we must consider the other possibilities as well. The second, and perhaps most balanced view, is that Project Sanguine somehow made Doveland uninhabitable, causing the town to be evacuated and subsequently overgrown and forgotten. This certainly would not be the first time something along these lines has occurred, but it does not answer why the town would be completely erased from history altogether. No maps, no census records, nothing. The third, that this is a widespread case of the Mandela effect, a phenomena in which a group of people collectively misremember something. The concept takes its name from a group of people who insist that they remember reports covering Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, even though he did not actually die until 2013. Could this be the case with Doveland? It is possible. But there is one last theory to which our evidence insists that we give special attention. That Doveland is the case of a dimension slip. Some physicists posit that there are coexisting parallel realities, and under certain rare conditions, realities may mingle for a time. Many believe that Doveland did exist, even still exists, in a parallel reality, and that it briefly slipped into ours, causing people to have memories of the town.
Well, I suppose you or I could exist in several places and at several times. It's possible that you and I are existing in another plane of reality right now as we speak.
Could this be an account from a man who has experienced this phenomenon firsthand? Could this be nothing more than an overzealous scientist who died in 1991? Or could he be a free agent who transcends time and dimensions? Could this man still be alive somewhere outside our reality?
I conducted an extensive search for documentation pertaining to Doveland, Wisconsin. I was initially unable to locate any legitimate documentation outside of internet fanfare, extensive Reddit threads, and the like. However, I used some of my tools to dig a little deeper, and I was able to find one document that I believe is quite telling. The Appendix B from Dr. Allen's Redaction Renewal. The Anomaly Defense Protection Agency requests that all mentions of Doveland, Wisconsin shall be hereby redacted. Existing copies, including the word Doveland, shall be destroyed. Any images, whether original or recreated, depicting Doveland shall be destroyed.
ADPA stands for Active Defense Patrolling Agency.
Was Dr. Allen blatantly lying to us?
The appendix also mentions that a public announcement will be released in order to, quote, reintegrate the populace.
Get home from work and your family was gone? Do not, under any circumstances, contact the police. Relocate.
Could all of this be somehow connected?
I've certainly never encountered an entity with such a messy record trail.
You really think there's not someone or something underground pulling the strings?
Could it be that perhaps whatever Project Sanguine really was It caused a rip in the fabric of our dimension, causing a collision of realities. Whatever it is, wherever it is, I believe that the ADPA has the answers to these mysterious questions, and they want desperately to rewrite the narrative. A series of anomalous events occur and are caught on tape. Those tapes are leaked and subsequently confiscated. Old video footage of a man named Ernest W. running some kind of strange experiment on a child. A lawyer-turned-medical student who confesses to a huge discovery and the next day is allegedly found dead, only to be discovered under a different identity years later. A town disappears from the map and is written out of history, with the name of the town redacted from all news sources. It all leads back to these 4 letters. The ADPA determines what we should see, and they seem to take every action necessary to protect us from what they feel we should not see. I record this after having wrapped production of Tales of Dread and Darkness, exposing the ADPA. We are currently in the process of editing the documentary to release to you. We had intended to conclude our documentary with Dr. Allen's interview. As you can imagine, given the last-minute discoveries made during our production process, there still remain more questions than answers. I found myself often pondering these remaining questions as we work to develop a satisfying conclusion for you, our audience. However, this came to a head last evening when I returned home from the studio to find outside my house a small package. Inside the package were 6 tapes and a small piece of paper with handwritten coordinates on it. After reviewing the tapes, I believe that they are the original tapes from the ADPA, which were leaked to Secret Handshake last year. Elliott Brotherhood has also confirmed as much. Secret Handshake Productions has bravely agreed to digitize the tapes and release them on their podcast platform. We encourage everyone to listen to the audio contained on the tapes and draw their own conclusions. I've looked up the coordinates as well, and they are in northern Wisconsin. While our funding contract covered 5 episodes, these new pieces of evidence have led us to believe that an additional episode is in order. Tomorrow, our team will travel together to the coordinates we were provided, documenting our findings. Despite being unfunded, our team is committed to finding conclusive answers. We hope you will join us for this additional episode of Tales of Dread and Darkness, exposing the ADPA.